For my semester project, I will be talking about the role language, power, and identity plays in the field of sports broadcast journalism. First, I'll be defining language. So, language is the main form of communication between one person to another. It is the foundation of human connection as it is used to convey thoughts and ideas between individuals. It upholds power as knowledge and emotions are shared and expressed. Next, defining power. So power is a right or authority that is given to a person or body. A person or organization that is strong and or influential within a certain context is another definition of power. Defining identity. It is the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. It means to uphold characteristics that determine who or what a person or thing does. So what do these three terms have to do with sports broadcasting? Well, all of them tie into sports broadcasting, as language, identity, and power all play an important role when discussing this topic, as each impacts the audience and how they perceive that particular broadcaster, sports team, and or the game as a whole. The language broadcasters use when broadcasting a game is important to the watchers as it provides information. Identity connects to multiple things, such as the identity of the broadcaster and even the identity of the team. Power is important because power roles is something to consider when listening to one analyzing a game. One may ask to themselves, does their voice uphold power and strength, and does he or she truly know what they're talking about when broadcasting a game? Now I'll be looking to broadcasting baseball games. So, baseball broadcasters provide play-by-play commentary during a set game that is provided to listeners either through the radio, television, and or other media platforms. So throughout the game, broadcasters must provide the starting lineup in addition to statistics for a said player or said team. New announcers may consider strengthening their multitasking skills as broadcasting includes setting up equipment, collecting player and or team statistics, and working with promotion directors or public relations managers. These issues are something one must consider before seriously thinking about entering the sports broadcasting industry. Now I'll take a look into the significance of language when talking about broadcasting baseball. So language and terminology broadcasters use are important when it comes to understanding the game in its entirety. Sports broadcasters must sound educated and confident, as this is an industry that takes these matters seriously. And although one may not know all the terminology, learning and listening to other languages used in this industry will help one's knowledge expand by soon understanding and learning the terms in its entirety. The power of platforms when looking at sports broadcasting. So how watchers and listeners consume their favorite sports teams' games have changed significantly throughout the years, and how announcers have broadcast these games has also significantly changed. The terminology has grown. The power of the internet, along with other technologies, has allowed viewers to stream games among several different media platforms. It is interesting to consider the power broadcasters hold when announcing on these different platforms, as the language they use may alter depending on the kind of audience that said platform attracts. Looking at identification in terms of sports broadcasting. Identity is important to think about as managers and other people involved with a specific team can strengthen their identity. This can be accomplished by understanding that a team's identity is more than association with players, coaches, broadcasters, and etc. A team's identity is symbolic of other types of group identities, such as demographics and membership organizations, which are external group identities that a specified sports team is believed to represent. These external group identities allow managers and other professionals to strengthen a team's fan base and their loyalty to that team. One can understand the importance linguistics and identity have on the sports industry, but that is not all, as power and gender roles play an equally significant role. A look into power and gender roles in the sports broadcasting industry. The sports broadcasting industry may be intimidating for some, as it is seen as a predominantly male-dominated business. Countless women have faced and continue to face discrimination in this industry. In an interview with Alexis Downey, a journalism junior at Michigan State University, she said, quote, "Sports are male-dominated. Women just have a hard time being taken seriously and being able to break into the industry because the people just have the stereotype in their mind that females just don't know what they are talking about when that comes to sports." End quote. What is the significance of language in the sports broadcasting industry? Well, language within the sports broadcasting industry can reveal racial biases. In a TED Talk presented by Pat Ferrucci, he says that language used among sports journalists often stereotype athletes by race, which is an issue that he explains must change. Ferrucci researches studies and examines the intersection of race, gender, and sports journalism, which is informative to those thinking about entering this industry. What is a global perspective when talking about sports broadcasting? The sale of sports broadcast rights has turned into profitable activity, giving birth to a global industry worth about $30 billion. Increasing competition between broadcasters and has inflated rights fees for popular sports, ultimately altering the nature of professional sports. US and European sports broadcast systems differ in terms of the quantity, prices, and rights that are distributed between the two. Although sports broadcasting is and has evolved towards a global market, major differences between America and Europe continue to remain.